Thank you very much. Let me adjust this. Okay, I think that's good. All right. I had a few things I wanted to say. I'm covering some of these things, but just get more specifically right now. I think like far as domestic violence and violence that happens amongst relationships are not really taken as seriously as possible. And I recently had to deal with a situation myself with a loved one, so it's very much real. And if you know anybody going through it, we really need to reach out to them and show them that there's a support, and there's really support for that. Another thing is that because I'm loving that we're recording this. I find at times, like when I'm having talks with other people and we're talking about police brutality against black folks, and then they're always bringing up, what about the violence committed by black folks by the black folks? That's very relevant, but that takes away from the issue. And the thing is, the fact of the matter is, if you're not talking about the systematic design that is meant to make sure that these people living in these conditions are violent amongst each other by lack of resources, lack of educations, and these other issues, which how media is forever portraying us, these perpetuate that violence. And it's been all types of studies and research proving this, and people even saying that people living in those conditions, that violence is actually normal behavior if you're living in that for any race or group, people in general. And we live in a society that only will glorify the violence of one racial group while sweeping under the rug the other. So I think that's really needs to be addressed, and if we're going to talk about black on black violence, you have to get to the root of the systematic design that keeps them oppression, so that violence can play out, so those stereotypes can play out. And that happens not just with black folks, but any other negative stereotype of any racial group. So and one last thing. I know I see a fellow comrade, and I'm sure we all do our work and play our role in this activism. And I just like to say that, it sucks when you're trying to build something and someone in a political office can just say what you say and just basically get all the credit, when you know that they really don't care about the people. So we're out here because we care about the people. So this is going to be a lot different than a lot of my other pieces. I got a lot of anger in this, and it was just writing for the times that was going on. So I'm gonna jump right in it. It's called "Fuck That Shit." That's the name of it. I know it's weird, but here we go.
Go in.
I made sure that every lyric was well crafted, that I speak perfect. You see, I don't watch How to Get Away with Murder. I know how to get away with murder. Join the police service. Showing love in a world that demands evil, screaming Black Lives Matter, lesbians, gay, straight, bi, queer, men, women, and trans people. I'm like, shit, we all damn people. But if you let these racists tell it, we're not loved by God because of the color of our skin, so we're just damn people. It's 2015, damn people. They kill a black person, all you gotta do is say they look suspicious, they didn't have a weapon, but their hands lethal. You better get mad at that Confederate flag. No debate should be made to tell if it's bad, whether it's sad. The thought alone makes me want to have that Beretta go black. So you tell me go back to Africa, make me feel alienated again. I kick in the door waving the 4-4 with the predator mask. I'm like, the things that I find actually crazy, with laws like redlining, which was designed to give whites advantages over other races, and we want to say that blacks are lazy. So that's classism and racism. Capitalism got a lot of blacks in prison, actually packed in prison. We work jobs, pay our bills, at the end of the day we're broke. That's how we're actually living, but that's not actually living. So we're competing over jobs that don't pay shit to see who the best. Try to go to college and work a job, you will stress. Try to get a degree, but only thing guaranteed, student debt. A systematic design that we're all connected to. You have to break up from it. It's called the American dream because you're supposed to wake up from it. I'm just trying to make sure y'all get stuck with the truth. I'm beating you across the head with consciousness, substance abuse. This message is direct to y'all. The fight the cause is what I expect from y'all. All these forms of discrimination only promote separation while the system oppresses us all. Making it seem that we have a voice when we vote, but we don't get shown any kind of love. This system doesn't mind using black men to tell little white lies like Obama does. My solution to this problem, my answer was, quote me this, I'm a socialist like the Panthers was. A friend of mine said I don't speak enough on domestic abuse. Fine, it's an issue to take on, because there's no point in saying I hope you make it home safe if you don't live in a safe home. The rate of domestic violence and neglect to do something about it just sounds so bad. A man should never put his hands on a woman, and just because women don't possess the physical strength as a man doesn't give her an excuse to use them as a punching bag. Clear to the fact. To the point, did everybody get that? If we were more aware of how this system affects our personal lives, then maybe that's where we should direct our fists at. But for those that are fucking with losers that only want to fucking abuse it, you're not a slave, so you shouldn't feel stuck with a ruler. No matter what they say, nor the direction they come at you can measure up how great you are, so you shouldn't feel stuck with a ruler. You see, they can try angles, but they only have them missing like the fucking Bermuda. That was nice. That's how our landmines, like landmines that explode on contact. I hate when whack rappers say they spit flames. You don't breathe fire, you're not even a street fighter. You mortals ain't ready for combat. I don't waste time making songs about how I'm gonna clap you. I might get my opinion, throw a comment at you, cause you get back a lot more of what you put into this world. So you throwing stones into the universe, she's gonna turn around and throw a comment at you. I expose guys that tell lies. I point out the obvious like fuck y'all been doing. They freeze up as if they done died of misogynist and discovered God's a woman. Real right, the flow like you lost your wallet, I Facebooked you to return it with the money included. Real nice, and that was based off some shit in real life. But speaking of Facebook in real life, a friend of mine was worried about some lyrics I posted out to the web, which came from Tupac's song Soldier Revenge 1993. Tupac said, niggas get they neck broke daily trying to stay jail free. It astonished me. Now there was some lyrics about shooting back at police, and there was some guy that got arrested for posting some violent lyrics to the web or whatever. But anyway, it wasn't like I said, I'm not worried if the cops gonna shoot me, cause they think it's a game until they step on the battlefield, get hit with a bullet storm from that Metal Gear Solid when them Black Ops get that Call of Duty. Video games. Battlefield, Bulletstorm, Metal Gear Solid, Call of Duty, fuck all that, let's just do horror movies. To explain the system, all shit is like Saw 6, they setting people up for their own demise, and plus the cops are pressing that Beretta to people, but we done seen more violent kills than Silent Hill because the resident's evil, and it's all designed by devilish people. Niggas doing drive-bys, letting off that damn heat, bullet flying through windows, killing people in they damn sleep. No Freddy Krueger, just deadly shooters, another nightmare on Elm Street. This society make you conform into some shit you don't want to be, so we all end up being wannabes. I understand the freedom fighters that fought for us, but sometimes it feels like they lost instead. The system kills self-determination, murder our dreams. Now we walk around looking for the next person life force to feed off of. The Walking Dead. Let the news talk about Chicago, they'll tell you one bad place. Very scary, a huge cemetery, there's plenty of dead space. Horror movies, Saw 6, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Nightmare on Elm Street, Walking Dead, Dead Space, fuck all that. Let me talk about what really gives me a headache. Why is it whenever a black woman speaking on her oppression, they want to throw that whole angry black woman? Here they go with that mess. Instead of mapping out her problems because they don't want to address that. Or how they always make it seem like it's just us killing us. 85% of the violence that happens to white people are by other white people. We're segregated and violent as a country. It doesn't take all day to see that shit. Or how about these racist news stations? When white folks was riding over who won a Stanley Cup, I'm looking like, can you believe this shit? You don't hear the news calling them thugs or asking where's the white leadership. So I understand thank you. I understand. We almost dying, I try to So I understand the science. Demonize one group while the other group is just as violent. So when we talk about police brutality or hate crimes against blacks, that's when they want to bring up, what about black on black violence? Those blacks got those blacks dying. Using anybody's voice against us, such as conscious artists who will turn around and say the most dumbest shit. Black people need to give white people a loving hand. I guess common lack common sense. What you thought I wasn't gonna say shit? White folks need to teach white folks not to be racist. No excuse, I'm tired of living in the system being ruled by a chosen few. The system isn't broken, it's doing what it's supposed to do. That's right. And these institutions don't represent us. They offer small change to distract from the revolution that's needed so much. It says a lot about your country when your friends and family are worried about your well-being because you're activists, and what you're fighting for could be the reason that you gone. Well, fuck all that. This is what I want you to put on my tombstone. He was an activist that was active with making sure the minimum wage was accurate with the standards of living, which shouldn't be a demand but a given. Judicial system corrupted, so he's not a fan of the prison, which only designed to make sure that those that go in, come out, end up going back in. The plan of the prison. When an animal in a zoo, let's say a bear or a lion, gets better treatment than a person in solitary confinement, it's pitch black, you can't even see what the time is. Weeks turn into months, months turn into years, that's how much of your time spent. Disgusted how everyone is into individualism, that we're not helping each other. I guess that's just how the times is. Judge giving life sentences like he don't know what the fuck time is. Public defender had evidence that could prove innocence, but he thought that was irrelevant. Tell him I respected the ones that came after me and watched after the ones that came before me. Show him it wasn't hard to politic. We get better every generation. So if we kings and queens, then that means our kids gonna be gods and goddesses, and teach them not to walk around issues, but go directly to where the problem is. Tell him I wanted to do so much, and I try to do so much. You know what? Fuck all that. Let's just keep it discreet. He lived, he loved, he died. Mission complete.
Whoa.
Okay, I think we're done.
That sums it up nicely.
Yeah.